Kathy's an incredible partner for us. As you all know, I came here for the first time in the spring of 2023, for my first championship. I can't believe it's my third one already. And I fell in love with KC for all the right reasons. And as you know, this time last year, we doubled down and we'll be here through 31. So Kathy, thank you for your partnership. Thank you for just everything you do for the conference, our schools, and we look forward to calling KC home for a long time. I also want to throw out a couple more thanks to a couple people that make this a great 10 days for us. Certainly Mayor Lucas and his team. He's been incredible. I'll spend some time with him Friday just to get an update on everything KC, but he's been an incredible partner. Phillips 66, without them we're not here, so I want to thank them. And also T-Mobile Center. There's not a day that I don't walk the streets here in KC where people don't rave about the staff, the building, the continued investment that the building is making, not only in our fans, but in the Big 12. As many of you walk around the building this week, enhanced clubs, more visual signage, LED, just an upgrading of everything they do here. And much of that is because we are their biggest event every year. We're their Super Bowl, and they continue to invest for the right reasons. So want to thank the building and the incredible staff here. I was here, obviously, last week. I did go back to Dallas on Sunday and returned last night for a quick 24 hours. But I saw some great women's basketball. And as I said, when I gave the TCU team the championship trophy, this season has been about TCU. You think about that turnaround, 1-17 in the conference last year and what they've done, just remarkable. But it's not just TCU. I mean, this conference, top to bottom, has been really strong. I anticipate that we have 8 or 9 teams that are tournament worthy. I'm excited for what's in store for us in the tournament. And I think we've had a great year when you think about women's basketball. And certainly the four corner schools have made us stronger, women's and men's for that matter. On the men's front, listen, you've heard me say it before, we are the best men's basketball conference in America. No doubt about it. And when you look at the historicals over the last 5 to 10 years, follow the data. It speaks for itself. Thinking about this year and referencing this year specifically, we've got 4 teams in the net top 10. 7 teams in Ken Palm's top 30. At least half of our conference, maybe more, will be in the NCAA tournament. And I think as all of you have seen throughout this year, it's a grind every game. And as many announcers have said it on ESPN and other platforms, every one of our conference game feels like a tournament game. And you're going to get a lot of that here over the next week. Excited to have 16 schools here. We have a deep conference. Anyone, might be here late Saturday, to be crowned our champion. It's wide open. Certainly there's some favorites, but anyone can win it. And I think that's what makes our conference so special. Off the court, as I said earlier, a lot of enhancements this year, no different than what you've seen over the last couple of years. The building, the community, they continue to embrace the Big 12. I will tell you, I've spoken to the four corner schools certainly last week and again this week. Everyone's excited to be here. It's a first-class experience, and they're going to witness it firsthand over the course of the next week. A lot of entertainment will be in Power and Light. I want to thank our partners at Power and Light for doing an incredible job and keeping our many, many fans busy with great experiences and music. And obviously the week will culminate with Shaquille O'Neal doing a great DJ set Saturday night, and he's become a fixture here in the Big 12, and we love having him with us. Again, want to formally welcome the four corner schools to KC. As Kathy said, we'll have many of their fans join us for the first time, and I think given how they'll be received here in the community, they're going to want to keep coming back and back, not just for our basketball championship, but for all the great events and things that are going on here in KC. I've often said it, I'm going to say it as a closing comment, there's never been a better time than right now to be part of this conference. I'm very bullish on our future for all the right reasons. and the best days are ahead. Thank you again for being here, and Clark, I guess I'm open for questions.
Great. Let's kick it off. Just raise your hand and affiliation, and one of our mic holders will go. Let's start with Blair from the Kansas City Star.
Thanks, Clark. Blair Kirkhoff with the Kansas City Star. Brett's for you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. The court's design's gotten a lot of reaction this week. I just want to get your reaction to the reaction, and what was the inspiration for the design?
So, Blair, let me start off by saying that court isn't about me. It's about our student athletes. You know, when I first got here, it was all about modernizing and contemporizing our brand, connecting to culture, and getting on the consciousness of current and future student athletes. And that's what we're doing. Every student athlete that walked on that court last week came up to me and said, Brett, it's fantastic. They took selfies. They loved it. Today, I got here very early. Iowa State practiced, and the entire team said, love it, love being on there. I think it's aspirational. You know, that's our stage. And we wanted to make a profound statement. And I think we did, and I love it. And listen, in life, you know, you never get it perfectly correct. But I think the people that matter most that are weighing in really love it, and that's what matters to me. But thank you for the question.
Go Scott in the green from Cincinnati.
Scott Springer, Cincinnati Enquirer.
Scott, how are you doing today?
Good.
Now, was there a direct flight from Cincy or not?
There is no such thing.
There is not.
If
We
you
got to
can
work
get
on
that
that.
going, I'm all
I know.
for
We
it.
got to work on that.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
like Chicago and all, but I'd rather.
But you
be
got here
slicker.
okay?
Yeah, I did.
All right, good.
Yeah,
Good.
Had an open seat on the way here too. That's. I'm
An
playing
open
the
seat
lottery.
next to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway, not every team is going to make the NCAA tournament here. Can you describe the Crown tournament? Is it the top two qualifiers that don't make the tournament? Some specifications on that event.
It is the top two that don't get into the tournament. We're excited to be part of the Crown. We think it's going to be a first-class opportunity for our student athletes to showcase their talents, our teams. Fox is a wonderful partner of ours, as you probably know. They've been doing football with us for quite some time, and next year they distribute basketball games for the first time in years. So we're excited to be in the Fox family, and I think their tournament's going to be off the charts, and I will be in there in Vegas to kick things off.
Hi, Todd Lebo, Sports Radio 810 here in Kansas City for Commissioner Yormark. Just can you take us through some of the challenges or unique things that have happened this year for the first time, almost through with the entire sports calendar with 16 teams? What have you learned about having 16 teams spread across the country like you guys have?
I've got a harder job now. But I embrace it. I mean, listen, I think, as you guys all know, when I first got here, I wanted to be a national conference. I wanted to be coast to coast. I inherited a conference that was 10 strong. We're 16 strong. We're in 5 states. We're in 10 states now. We're in 4 time zones. I love the composition of our conference for all the right reasons. Does it present some challenges from time to time for student athletes, travel, et cetera, et cetera? Yes, but in working with our sport administrators, we're very mindful of that, and we're managing it quite well, I think. But the positives outweigh any negatives. You just look at the depth of this conference across the board, all sports. Love where we are, love where we're going. We've had to integrate 8 new schools, if you think about it, in the last 2 years, and I think that's gone extremely well. And they're all proud to be part of this conference. So I'm excited about our future, as I said earlier, and I love the fact that we're 16 strong.
Ron Weaver, the Daily Universe, Provo, Utah. Question for Commissioner Yormark. You've been very aggressive right here in the middle.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, you're totally fine.
How are you today?
Good, how are you? Thank you for
great.
asking.
Thank
You've
you.
been very aggressive in expansion. Do you see further schools expanding to the Big 12 in the next few years? Or are you set with 16 teams right now at the state of the conference?
Well, I love 16. I love where we are, and it's taken its toll on the staff, you know, to integrate everyone, although I think it's gone really, really well. Expansion isn't something that's on my radar right now for obvious reasons. But listen, this is an evolving landscape, collegiate athletics, and we always have to be ready. So I can't sit here and say we'll be 16 for the next 10 years. It'll all depend on the nuances in and around the Big 12. But I love 16, and I love our geographic composition, and I think there's a lot of upside. And, what I focus on every day is being the best version of ourselves. And we're 16 today. And the question is, how do we become the best version of 16? And we're not there yet. Thank you for your question.
We'll go Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports next.
Brett, where are you on big picture bracket expansion?
On what?
Where are you on big picture bracket expansion of the tournament?
Listen, I'm in favor of expansion to 76. I think that's the right number. I think there'll be just some decisions over the next, 90 days, 60 days. I think the economics, candidly, have to work. CBS and TNT have a marquee asset with the tournament. I know they know that. But in order for us to expand, they have to come to the table and provide the right economics. No one wants to get diluted. And we've got a great asset here. So we'll see how it plays out. I know Charlie Baker and Dan Gavitt are working hard at figuring out, where we need to be. And they'll do the right thing. But the economics matter.
Go Blair Kirkhoff again from Kansas City Star.
Kathy, can you speak to Kansas City's an experienced basketball tournament host. Can you speak to how that favors Kansas City when it just comes to bidding for events like this?
Yeah, Kansas City shows up, and as Commissioner Yormark shared, it's working together, but it's also filling our seats, and it's our fans that are showing up to this. We are hosting the 2027 Division I Men's Regionals again, and that doesn't come lightly. It's a lot of years of work that goes into that, but I think both Big 12 and NCAA know that we know how to host. You don't just show up. We're working with our hotel partners, with our transportation partners, with food and beverage. All that plays a role into it. They're focused on what happens on the court. Brett has really challenged us to step up and focused on what's happening on Grand Boulevard, what's happening in Power and Light District. I think all that continues to play a role in getting bigger and better each year.
Over here, question for both. Harold Kenn's Fox affiliate here.
How are you?
Good to see you again. One question for you, Brett, with the conference and the way the brackets are scheduled. I know every conference has like a unique way of doing brackets. Some have 4 teams going, and they just kind of build up to a championship, giving the buys to top 4. Have you ever thought of anything, or have you heard anything from the coaches of the way the brackets work for the Big 12 tournament and what's best for the student athletes? And I'll have another question for you.
You're talking about our bracket here?
Yes.
Yeah, no, listen, I have gotten nothing but positive feedback. Brian Thornton is our head of basketball. Hopefully you all know him. Brian, have you heard anything else?
No, it's been positive so far. Obviously, this is our first year with 16. And one of the things that we want to do is we always want to reward our teams that have great years throughout the course of the season. And that's why we give double buys to our top 4 seeds. Thank you. Our 5 through 8 receive one bye, and then our other teams play, obviously, today. But we always want to reward them, and as Commissioner talked about, it's extremely important because we look at our conference as a conference that's going to have half of our teams in the NCAA tournament. And for our teams that have played really well over the course of the year, we don't want them to have to play 4 or 5 games ahead of the NCAA tournament. So we want to reward them, put them in the best place to be playing the best basketball when it matters the most.
Thank you. And Kathy, for you, obviously this one big event leads to more big events coming up in the future. Just how does an event like this and the way you guys are made this so streamlined help you guys going forward for preparing for something like the World Cup coming next year?
Yes, it has been an interesting week already. Last week, I'll give you a couple examples. We had our staff here for both Sports Commission and Visit KC working. We also at the same time had a site visit for Division I Women's Volleyball, which we're hosting in December, the Final Four. We also had a 2-day site visit with Rugby World Cup, which we're bidding on for 2031 for men and 2033 for women. And today we've released the Sonic ID for World Cup for next year. So these types of events just means we get better and better again, and knowing how to operate with that, we're increasing our staff size. We continue to hire more people, and it makes it better as we look to the future.
Just speaking about FIFA, I need to tell everyone I was watching Fox this morning. I'm a little loyal to Fox because my sister-in-law is the anchor in New York City. And you guys played for the first time, I think, the new theme song for FIFA, which was terrific. I want you to know I didn't get off my Peloton to dance at all, but it's a great theme song.
Good.
Great theme song. Kathy's done a heck of a job here. I mean, the biggest and greatest global events are all coming to KC. So incredible.
Saul Bookman, PHNX Sports. Obviously bringing in the Four Corner schools and their history in Vegas in the Pac-12 tournament. What kind of, feedback have you received from those schools in terms of future venue opportunities for this tournament specifically?
Well, listen, they've been in Vegas for a long time. They liked Vegas. Vegas was great to them. No different than what I said to the women's teams last week. Come here, sample it, give me your feedback. Across the board, they loved it. They thought it was first class, an experience that they haven't had anywhere else, and I expect the same from the four men's coaches. Because, I'm very engaged with them, and I want their feedback. I want them to tell us how we can get better. But I think they're going to love it here for all the right reasons, and for the same reason I fell in love with KC. And as I said earlier, we're here through 31. We're committed to KC. What happens after that, I don't know, but I would anticipate we're here for a long, long time.
Gentleman in the plaid shirt.
Brett, and then maybe this is for Brian a little bit too, but just there's a lot of talk about going to 18 games next year. What was behind that decision? Did y'all feel like, or did coaches feel like 20 was too much, or how did that come about?
I'll let Brian speak to that. Brian, go ahead.
It's a very good question, and that is our anticipation to go to 18 games. And one of the biggest impetuses for that is just the balance of conference versus non-conference games. It's extremely important because of the competitive nature of our conference, for there to be some ability to have a bye built into our schedule. And just because of the way that the schedule lays out, playing 20 games post-Christmas makes that impossible to do. So we're going to try 18 games, and we're going to see how that goes. Obviously, it's extremely important for us to ensure that we have quality non-conference games that are played before Christmas, and that's something that we're investing with our schools on. Women, yes.
Yeah,
Both.
women stay the same at 18.
Go back to the individual with a bomber jacket, I believe. I think that's right. My fashion eye is correct.
You kind of piggybacking on that, is there any consideration to doing less, one-game trips for some of these teams? It seemed like that was kind of
You're talking about conference travel and schedule?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, listen, I can only speak, and I'll defer to Brian too, my colleague. We're very mindful of the wear and tear and the travel. It's one of our guiding principles when we think about scheduling, making sure that we're very sensitive to that, and that will continue. But Brian, you might want to speak even further on that.
I guess I'll just hold on to this for a minute. To that point, we always want to be cognizant, as Commissioner said, and we do have, because of the nature of our institutions, we have some situations where we're able to pair trips together for some of our institutions. Think about going to Arizona and Arizona State, or BYU in Utah, or even to Cincinnati and West Virginia because of proximity. So when we have the ability for institutions to go from east to west and play 2 games, that's something we want to take advantage of. For our institutions that are more centrally located, it's easier for them to either go west or east in a 1-game scenario. But we want to definitely be mindful of making sure our student athletes are in as good of a position as possible.
We've got time for probably 2 more. We'll start with the individual on the back, the navy polo.
Ryan Decker, Gold and Blue Nation in Morgantown. Commissioner, question that's not basketball related, admittedly. Going to a lot of Friday night games and football this upcoming season, what's the motivation behind that? How can that help the conference this season?
Well, listen, we experienced quite a few Friday night games last year. I thought they went really well. Our ratings were great. Fans enjoyed it. They don't mind occasionally going to a Friday night. They don't want that to be a regular schedule dynamic, but I think occasionally it works out really well. It changes it up. This year we have a few more, and I'm excited about it. I think on a Friday night we can be a showcased conference for all the right reasons. ESPN and Fox do an incredible job for us. So I'm excited, and I love this schedule. And I don't think we'll do more in the future. But certainly what you're seeing now is something that I think you can see on a regular basis.
Okay, one last question. Anyone want to bring us home? To the gentleman in the red polo.
Hi, Commissioner Kevin Kinder from the Blue and Gold News.
How you doing, Kevin?
Just fine, thank you. There's a lot of talk about other conferences having disproportionate influence on setting the agenda, some college football topics. Is that a front of mind thing for you? How would you characterize your work with them right now? I understand that can be sensitive in talking, but how do you feel that's progressing at the moment?
Let me ask you something. Do you think I'm shy or no? All right. So that being said, I think it's fair to say that I represent the conference pretty aggressively when I'm in those forums. It's important for us to be heard, and we are. I will say that the relationship amongst the commissioners of the Power Four has never been better. We don't agree on everything, but we have a mutual respect factor that exists, and we hear each other out. And I feel really good about where we're situated. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation around the CFP and what that looks like in the future. I'm not going to go there today. We did have a meeting a couple weeks ago in Dallas. We'll have another one in a couple of weeks from now. And we'll continue to vet out what the possibilities and opportunities are. But my number one guiding principle is really to do what's right for college football. And that's what we're tracking towards. And I think I speak on behalf of my colleagues to say that's their guiding principle also. But thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you everyone for your time today. Really appreciate it, and enjoy